employment is the issue of employability. And do our workers have the skills to really fill in the gap right now? And what do you think the budget and industry can do to enhance skill development?
So this is a very critical point that you have raised, Vidisha, because over the last few years, this government has been focused very strongly on skill development, the skill mission, say for instance, which is going to be a critical one to see because the nature of employment is getting changed. The type of people that we all need to look into, that we need for in our firms, in our companies, and everywhere are so much different. And building the skills of Indian youth as per the ever-changing needs of the industry, it will be really a key towards employability, and that's going to be very important. And one of the ways to do this is to encourage industry to engage in how you get industry involved into skill development. It's not just the government, but the private sector coming in a very strong way. We had suggested, adoption from CII, adoption of the recruit, train, deploy, what we call the RTD model on the scale. And RTD is really a unique model where applicants are screened and offered jobs. Candidates accepting the offer are provided customized training and placement on successful completion of training. And the training is done really directly by industry or in close coordination with the industry. And the budget really could announce a nationwide RTD scheme with adequate budgetary provisions. So another way to ramp up skill development, I would think, would without any budgetary impact, would be to ensure proper utilization of the reskilling fund, and that is to be created under the code of industrial relations. And the code, this code actually requires employers to transfer 15 days of wages for every retrenched worker to something called the reskilling fund. Now, to ensure proper utilization of this fund, the government could issue skill vouchers, so to say, which could be used by those retrenched workers to avail training from government authorized training institutes. So these are some ways where we can see that we can have a pipeline which will be much more we can build a pipeline for employment and employability in particular.
And these are very interesting suggestions coming from CII. And I just wanted to ask you, in addition to public spending, what can the government do to generate more demand in the economy?
Actually, there has to be some things much more than public spending, as you said, because demand is going to be the critical part as we really look at how we can push growth. And the most direct way to put money into the economy and revive demand would be by clearing the government dues of the industry. And this is something that one has been talking about for a long time, as you know, including the delayed payments, tax refunds, money stuck in arbitration and tax litigation. That's a huge part actually that can be sort of now really loosened up very strongly. The cabinet, if you recollect, had passed an order in 2015 that all the PSEs pay up at least 75% of the dues which are contested in courts in cases where the private sector has got a ruling in favor, in the lower courts. So when it is in the higher courts, so they could just pay off that. However, it has been pretty much ineffective, as you know, and as PSCs have demanded bank guarantees for releasing these dues. So it doesn't work really like that. And the private sector really has no ability to provide, at all. And this order which came out, that has to be implemented immediately. That's going to be one very, very important part. Also, from payments from government agencies, that really should be mapped into the GST invoices. Now, with all the technical, with the technology which has been introduced, we see that this is a big potential, and all this payments from the government agencies getting mapped into the GST invoices, which are used to post completion and acceptance of the work assigned. And the dues should be tracked for really timely release on an online portal. So this is something which will make things very, very transparent. One very, very important issue and a sector in this particular area is the MSME. And for MSMEs, government tenders should really provision for payments to be made as per the MSMED Act, and interest for delay really to be automatically added on to the payment. So really, if you see that there are quite a few options that the government has at this point in time, and another very important point is basically to boost the sputtering engine, if one can say, of private investment. Government really should ensure a stable tax regime and a very stable long-term interest rates at current levels. Initiatives like towards ensuring sanctity of contracts, which is something that CII has been saying very, very strongly for government and quasi-government entities. And very, very importantly, of the state governments, that will really go a long way in encouraging private investments. It's something which is, India has got a lot to do in that area as far as ease of doing business. And I would think that's something that we would really like to see that happening. And to really attract global, corporations looking at diversifying supply chains, we must have the government considering offering globally benchmark incentives and facilitation. So I think this is a very important area, and we would want to see much of it coming out on the 1st of February.
Thank you. You mentioned large sums of money being stuck in tax litigation. How can this issue be addressed?
So, as you know, I mean, this is a big, big issue, and the complex nature of our tax laws and cumbersome and really slow processes of the resolution of disputes have led to piling up of money stuck in tax disputes. For example, as of 30th September 2019, the total disputed demand for corporate taxes and income taxes was a whopping 9.96 lakh crores. And I have this figure here with me. And we have suggested the introduction of a time-bound mediation mechanism for tax disputes in the income tax law. Mediation can really provide a final and binding settlement, providing relief from long-drawn litigation. Further, also any amendment to the tax laws should be done in such a manner that the amended laws really honor the contracts under execution, preventing disputes. So the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme could be extended to, we have said, till 31st December 2021. Given the fact that this year was virtually lost to pandemic, and the entire year has gone. So appeals before, or appeals pending on or before the 30th of June 2021, that could be considered eligible for the scheme. So that's one way how we can see this happen.